Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 9 of Before the Ball Drop podcast. We're your hosts, James,
And Rebekah.
and we're coming at you again for week 9, episode 9, Nueve. And this episode is all about school, actually. Isn't that right?
Yeah, all about the school and growing up in school in the 90s.
Yeah, this is a very unique one. So this is basically all just mostly just personal recollections of our time in school in the 90s. So pretty much up through middle school. And yeah, what it was like for both me in Western Pennsylvania in the United States and for Rebekkah.
In Canada.
Yep.
Metropolitan Canada, I should
Metropolitan, yes.
Yeah, I didn't grow up in a country school.
Metropolitan Canada, Western Pennsylvania, United States. Yeah, school is definitely a lot different now. It seems like for a lot of the kids nowadays. But I think a lot of the stuff is similar but different at the same time. I first went to school, I remember being extremely against the idea of going to school. We I just didn't like it. I was a homebody. I loved my family. I loved my mama a lot. Didn't want to leave my mama aside. She's a mama's boy. Yeah. She really had to fight to get me on the bus that first day, and I was scared and miserable the whole time. But my first recollections of school was we in kindergarten, even in kindergarten and first grade, we had those little blocks that we would use for the to learn numbers. There's the 10, there's 10 little cubes, and then there's one that's 100, 10 of those, 10 of the things of 10. You know, I'm talking about. You ever seen those blocks before that are to teach you 1/100th and the hundredths? I remember those blocks.
I don't remember those.
Okay, yeah. Those blocks were one of the first things I remembered having in school. And I remember the kids bringing their boxes of Game Boy games to school. And this was before Game Boy Color. This was just Game Boy. So, yeah, this was 96, 95. They had Game Boy cartridges, and I remember that they would just bring to school just because I guess that was something to show off at school. It was just, hey, look what I have. This is a box of Game Boy games. It's I don't know why you'd bring them to school. It's weird now thinking about it, but oh well, I guess kids brought stuff to school from home, maybe for comfort from home, I guess, but also to show off and be assholes. So they'd be look what I have. I remember that from the kindergarten and first grade days. There's a whole lot, but there's this little play area we had, and they had little bricks and this baby doll. There was brick wall, baby dolls, and stove. And I remember I used to put the baby in the stove all the time.
Oh my god.
And I put the baby in the stove, and I used to play house with this girl named Amanda, and they pretend to be honey, the baby is in the oven. It's I would say that line every time. So stupid.
If I did that, my friggin' teachers would send me to the guidance counselor.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah, that's coming too. I got sent there many times. But yeah, I remember in first grade I was a huge Metal Gear Solid fan, and at recess I would pretend to be Solid Snake, and these kids wanted to play with me, and I'm all right, but you're gonna be one of the soldiers, and I'm gonna break your neck. And yeah, that didn't go over well. That was one of my first of many trips to the principal's office. In this Western Pennsylvania school system, where the principal was an asshole and treated me like dirt anyway, and they labeled me from an early age. And sometimes I think maybe it's because of the stuff that I said and did, but like still you're just a kid, but they tried saying I needed like psych evaluations and stuff. Had to go see shrinks and psychiatrists for that, all because of the video games that I played and wanting to talk about them at school. Because I guess that's just kind of how I was. I guess I wasn't, you know, integrated into society properly at first. Wasn't very social, so I was an indoor kid, played video games all the time. So it kind of was what I had to go by. So school was kind of a culture shock for me. But I'll let you lead off from how school started for you.
So I was held back from kindergarten. So we have
Wow.
JK here, and then we have kindergarten. So I didn't go to JK, and I wasn't allowed to go to kindergarten right away because my mother wanted to try homeschooling me because I was premature and it was my first time going into a social setting, and she wasn't sure how I would react to that because I wasn't a very social child, but I like to talk a lot. So I like to talk a lot to my parents at least. But my mother would hold me back, and then we played. All I remember about those days was playing Clifford the board game. Like, I don't think there was a lot of homeschooling going on because we would just be playing like a board game, and then she would take me to the library and she'd have me pick out a book, and then I had to read that book and do like a faux report for her and tell her basically what the book was about. And I remember the first time she took me to the library, I had to pick out a book, and I picked out one about King Henry VIII, and it was like this friggin' dictionary, right? Like, it was huge. And she's like, "Are you sure you want to read that?" And that's how she found out that I actually was ahead of my reading level, which she tried to tell the teachers because she encouraged me to read all the time, which was what I was doing. I wasn't playing video games as a kid, I was reading all the time. So I did my first like school report on to her as on King Henry VIII. Played a lot of Clifford, watched a lot of Sailor Moon, and then I was finally able to go to school. And that was, yeah. Again, I'll say it too. It was a culture shock because not that kindergarten's like a huge leap in between because it's not like you're really there. They nap during kindergarten and all that. But I didn't make a lot of friends in middle school, so I just remember I was that kid that would like sit in the corner and read all the time. They did play the game that I loved, and I was the best at it. And I'm not even saying that to be like, cocky. It was called Glossary, and they would write a word on the board, like, I don't know, like patio or whatever, and you had to take your dictionary and you had to find the word as fast as possible. And it was my favorite game to play in school because I always won because I was ahead of most of the kids for the reading level, the understanding and all that, comprehension and all that.
That's awesome, actually.
So
You were like with it more like as a kid then. Like you were like you said you like didn't grow up with the video games, you did the reading and stuff like so you were like the exact opposite of me in a way, but you said also you also had trouble making friends as well.
I
So
did.
we have that part in common at least.
One thing that always makes me mad about middle school experience, and this actually goes into high school, but it's mostly middle school where they start, is if you are seen as the non-social type, they are so quick to medicate you. They are quick to be like, oh, there's something wrong with her. She's not, socializing very much. She's just reading her books, And I think that that's so wrong because I got misdiagnosed a lot in middle school because the teachers were insistent that there was something wrong with me.
Yeah, that's how it was for me too. Like I was saying a little bit ago, going back to my earlier point about like if you get a label put on you, and that happened a lot back then in the 90s, especially that was before there wasn't a word for like a lot of like things, like especially in my case. I came to find out much later on that I'm actually on the spectrum, like for autism, but we didn't have that like that wasn't something that they had done a lot of research on in the 90s. So there were so many things, they would just call you the weird kid, or they'd say the slurs like to you, like the R word and stuff like that, just because of how you acted.
Yeah.
And it was pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, and I don't think that the teachers also helped because the teachers, in my experience, were more pushy because they just didn't want problem children, right? So, like you said, there wasn't a name for anything back then. It was just, oh, they're a problem child. There's something wrong with them. ADHD and that wasn't like a thing. At least not until like the later 90s.
Hmm. Yeah.
So,
Problem Child, again, you said that made me think of our first episode, the movies episode. We didn't mention that movie, The Problem Child.
oh yeah.
That's a funny movie. But anyway, go ahead.
Oh no,
Sorry to
and
cut you
oh,
off.
it's okay. But no, like middle school was, from what I remember, I mean, kindergarten was pretty much just, like I said, a chill time because you're sleeping in half the time and like not really doing anything. You're not really learning a lot in kindergarten, I think personally. But going through elementary school, I started making more friends as I got up in the grades, and I do have a funny story that I want to tell, but I'll save it for a bit. But I did. We had this huge like forest in the back of our playground that led out into the town, and it's gated up now because I guess too many kids were going in there. But I'm so thankful that it was never gated up when we were kids because we could just literally walk into the forest on our recess.
Yeah, we've heard a lot about that forest on this podcast, so I'm glad that the lore of the forest continues to grow.
All
So I'm
right.
excited to hear the story about it. I love hearing about that forest, honestly. Like that's awesome.
But I definitely was a problem child in elementary though. Like I ran with like the rough crowd, Not the rough like the gangs or anything, but I got in trouble a lot. I remember I spent a lot of my elementary school in school detentions.
Yeah, I got a lot of in school myself later on down the line, and most of the times I got in trouble in my grade school and early school times was just a lot of times, like I said, like it was because of the fact that I was labeled, and the principal at the time was named Mrs. Hoffman, heavy set woman. I'll never forget her. Curly hair, heavy set. She's just, I don't know. She exuded the same like energy as like a mean principal in like the movies that we grew up watching. She was very, very rotten, and she didn't like me, and she would jump at any opportunity to call me into her office. There was actually one time where she called me into her office, and she quickly realized when she looked at her list of freaking aggravations, list of freaking horrible atrocities that I've committed, that she's like, okay, I just now realized that everything on this list I've already yelled at you for, so you can go. I'm like, so you literally just picked that up and then said, let's call James in here so we could fuck with him. Just, just a complete miserable woman she was like that. So I spent lots of time going in there for the stupidest reasons. But I do remember, I mean, talking about games in school, like, I remember playing similar games to that glossary game that you played, where it was something the teacher would give us a definition and we would write the word on the board as quick as possible, the quicker than our opponent, and that was pretty fun. I also remember our Macintosh computer that we had in school, and some of the old games that we played on that, like the typing games and spelling games, and there was these like math games with like these little monsters that like ate the numbers and stuff. Like that was pretty fun. A lot
Oh,
of good memories with those games. I remember playing with my blind friend. I had a blind friend who was a huge professional wrestling fan, like myself, and he would always be on the computers playing those games too. And he would always be like, "I wish we had wrestling games on here." I'm like, "Dude, that'd be crazy. Could you imagine?" And I remember that. I remember actually playing wrestling at recess with this blind friend of mine, and I remember we were on the jungle gym pretending it was hell in a cell. We pretended to be Mankind, Mick Foley, and the Undertaker, and we were fighting on the top of the jungle gym, just like, and this kid was so incredible, like, and he was like, "All right, I'm gonna throw you off of it," and I'm like, "Okay, cool, I'm gonna be Mick Foley, I guess." So I pretended to get thrown off of there, and without warning, I'm getting up. And since he's blind, like he didn't like I didn't like indicate to him that I was like not ready for him to like do a fake jump, like because I was like saying I'll catch you, like, but like we did. There was miscommunication there because I was still trying to get up, and he jumped off the jungle gym and he landed right on the back of my neck, and it was like the weirdest thing ever because I felt the weirdest pain ever. I heard a huge pop in my neck. I thought he killed me like instantly because like I remember like losing my hearing in both ears for a second. And I was like, oh my God, dude, I'm dying. Like, oh my God, this is it. Like, you know, I couldn't move like for like a minute. And I like finally was able to, you know, move my neck and my arms, but my neck was so sore for like a month after that. So I think that might have been the early onset of the problems I have now with my neck and my nerves and my spine and stuff. Was that guy? It was that kid jumping on my neck as a kid playing Mick Foley and Undertaker Hell in a Cell at recess.
Gosh, I know. We thought we were so invincible as children, and kids are very invincible.
Mm-hmm.
Like we used to play. What was it called? It was called War. Not War. I forget the name of the game, but it was banned shortly after we played it because we would get all of the school to participate in this. So certain grades, you know, because we weren't really split up on the playground, so a lot of older kids could play with us. And we would all link hands in a line, and then the other team would also link hands in a line, and you just run at each other. And whoever doesn't break the line wins. And yeah, a lot of kids got like fucked. Like a lot of kids got hurt. And I remember one time I ran for the line and I was at the end, which you think would be safe, but it just swings you with the momentum into the like the other line. And I just remember I collided with this kid so hard that my nose started bleeding and like I'm pretty sure I bit my lip. Like, but it was so much fun.
You Canadians are hardcore. What the heck?
And then
we didn't do that.
Yeah, and the teachers like decided to ban that game because it was too dangerous, and they're like, oh well, the kids are getting hurt, and everyone still tried to play it, but we had those, you know, I forget what they're called, the people that would watch you at recess and you know, whistle when you were doing something wrong, and they'd be like, stop doing that or you get detention.
I remember them. We had them in our cafeteria too. In our cafeteria in my 90s school there, we had they had like these lunch ladies that had whistles, and they would like if we were getting too loud, they would have these like very bright construction papers that they would hold up. So they would, if it was green, we could keep talking, be as loud as we wanted. If we were getting too loud and unruly, they'd hold up the yellow and blow the whistle at us. And then if we were too loud, they would blow that whistle and then hold up the red piece of construction paper where we all had to not talk at all.
And like
I remember that.
Yeah, and they would we never had the construction paper. We would just have the obnoxious ones that would whistle and then be like, you know, oh my gosh, like you can't do that, or like write you up. And it's like, what's a write up gonna do? Get out of here! Like we're just having fun, you know. I live by the school that I went to, and they've gotten rid of the entire playground. And,
really? Yeah, I think that's a lot of our childhood schools, you know, unfortunately.
Yeah, like you drive by and it's just a field now, where it used to be like a slide, a jungle gym, tire swing, a whole swing set. And it's like, what are the kids doing? Like, what are you having them do during recess? Just running? Like, there's no... I don't know. If that happened when I was a kid, I don't think I'd be very happy, to be honest.
Yeah, it's like the school I went to in the early 90s, for first through third grade, is now being used for, well, kindergarten through third grade. Now it's being used for kindergarten all the way through sixth grade because the middle school got shut down. And now that school now serves as everything. My nephew goes to it. So it's cool that my nephew is going to the school that I went to way back when, even if it's changed a whole lot because they had to remodel it and add more to it because to, you know, accommodate for more classes. And of course the playground's not the same playground. It's a brand new one. But at the same time, it's kind of cool to know that he's going to that same school, you know?
Yeah.
And that's cool. And able to like share these type of stories with him one day as well about like how it was for me back then.
Oh, you almost broke your
Um,
neck.
yeah, it's like, yo, this is I almost broke my neck.
I remember
Blind
too.
kid jumped on me. You believe that?
Like I remember too that there was with the forest. Our school was for some reason kept unlocked like during the night. And I don't know if it was for the janitors so that they could come in and clean and they just happened to leave certain doors open. But I remember that me and my friends in grade 8, so we would have been about 13 at this time. We or not 13. Yeah, about 13, 12, whichever. But we went into the forest one night after school, and then these older guys were there and they scared us, and I think they were just playing. I think we knew them because they were older kids from like grade 9, 10, and I think they were just messing around with us, but they scared us in the forest, and then my friends ran, and then I ran and I fell and I cut myself on glass that was in the forest. And I just
Oh,
remember all my friends just like dipped, except for this one friend who I'll mention in another story. She actually stayed with me, and we went into the school, and we felt like we were like breaking into the school because it was dark, and we felt like we had to do some stealth mission where we had to get to the bathroom to wash my hand and everything, and like the janitors were there, and we were so scared to get caught. It was so weird to me though that they kept the school open.
yeah, yeah. That's actually that's actually a wild story then, because like like for me, it's like being there like after hours must have been like crazy to like to do. I've always wondered about that. I see that in a lot of shows and like animes, especially going into the school after hours and stuff. I always wondered what that would be like,
It's definitely
honestly.
a weird experience. I had to do that in my university too, and I remember having to go to my. I was a broke college kid, so I went to a university that was always open, and I would go and steal the toilet paper there. I'm not proud of it, but they left the doors open. So,
Hey, yeah, it's their own fault.
yeah, so I would go and
It
just
goes on.
literally take like this huge roll of toilet paper from my school and go back home with it. Um, I don't know why. There was no reason for me to do that. But yeah, being in the school after hours is so weird because nobody's there, not even the janitors. You can just walk in and it's just so quiet.
Yeah, that must be like definitely an experience. Um, I feel like we can't talk about school without talking about library and of course the scholastic book fairs. Like, I mean, at least in Greenville. I mean, yeah, Greenville. That was my town that I grew up in. But at least in the U.S. here, we had the Scholastic Book Fair. Well, that was our book fair we did every year, and the books we had back in the day in our libraries was just. I feel like it's just the most peak that anything will ever be. Like literally, we had the Animorphs, which were amazing, and Goosebumps. We had Goosebumps, Animorphs, later on Captain Underpants, and Millia Bedelia. We had some really cool stuff back then as kids. All kid-friendly reading, including Goosebumps. Even though I tried to check out Goosebumps in first grade, and the librarian said, "No, you can't get it. It's too violent." And I'm like, "Well, then why the heck is it in our school if I can't get it?" That don't make no sense.
Yeah, I used to love the
Yeah.
Scholastic Book Fairs. I used to we they used to give out those newspapers where you could pick what you wanted from the like what's it called? From the list
It's like
of
a
books, I
catalog.
guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would always bring it home to my mom and be like, "Oh, can we order this book?" Because I was super into the Magic Tree House, I think it was called.
Ooh, Magic Treehouse.
Yeah, it was about these two siblings who would go up into their treehouse, and they would just like they had this book that would send them to certain periods of time, like the dinosaur time or medieval times, and they would have adventures there. And I always remember I
Oh.
was waiting for the next one to come out, and I'm like, I need it, I need it.
That's awesome, actually. It sounds really good. I think I might have heard of it, but maybe not. But at the same time, the way you described that, that sounds like something that I would definitely read as a kid.
Oh, 100%. It was
Nice.
such a good book series. And I remember too, like I just loved going to the fairs because there were always these you got to skip class too. because they would say, okay, who wants to go to the book fair, and then you would raise your hand and they would send you out to go look at the books and that. So it was a free period of just not being in class.
Yeah, that was the best. Even if you didn't have money for the books, you could at least get out of class for a while and look at stuff.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
Maybe
do
ask your friends to give you to buy you a book.
I do remember one time, again, I don't know the reason why I did this. I was not a klepto as a kid, I swear. But I did steal something from the book fair. And it wasn't a book. I think it was something like a pencil or something. I don't know. It was
Yeah,
just
some really cool pencils and
yeah.
pads, like protractor thingies and rulers, and they had Pokemon figurines the one time there, which was insane.
Yeah. And I just remember like I really liked this one pencil that they had, and it was the one time that I couldn't get money for the book fair, so I was like, oh, whatever, they're not going to miss this. But I got caught literally right outside the library.
Ugh.
Yeah, she was like, you can either give me the pencil back or we're going to have to call your mom. And I was like, ooh, I really like this pencil. I was like, I'm not giving it back.
Hell yeah, good choice.
And then they called my mom, and my mom was like, you idiot.
Respect. I would have respected that if I was there. Would have been like, hell yeah.
Yeah, so
For sure, I would have been like, oh, I'm defending her. She did nothing wrong. That was a cool pencil, god dang it.
yeah, right.
Take one too, damn it. I'm gonna steal one too. um, but yeah, the books were amazing, and we can go back to the whole thing with like how I went there talking about video games all the time. I actually used to have to, after I saw the therapist, we like reached like a little conclusion. I mean, they said there was nothing really wrong with me. They said I wasn't crazy and didn't need like, psychiatric help really. But they did recommend that I had a wraparound, which is a dude that like would follow me around at school. And after school on Wednesdays, he'd take me places. Like he took me to the mall. He took me to get food. He'd buy me games and buy me toys. He was a really cool dude. His name was George. And I remember I had to have him walking. But that was the only thing about it was kind of embarrassing, because like none of the other kids had a grown adult walking around with them at school, like kind of felt fucking messed up. But he was such a cool dude. And I kind of just like to pretend when I was walking with him, I just pretended like he was my manager, like I was like a wrestler. And when wrestlers walk out and they have their manager walking behind them and stuff, like, so made me feel kind of cool when I thought about it that way. I was like, yo, this is my manager.
Or like your Secret Service.
Yeah, Secret Service, George. Good dude. Really good dude. He drove this really cool Porsche, man. It was like one of the coolest cars I've ever seen, even to this day. Like that Porsche was super freaking cool. So I used to love riding with him Wednesdays after school. We'd blast the music. He'd just say, I'm not supposed to play Eminem in the car and stuff with my clients because, this isn't like, it's not appropriate music, but as long as you're okay with, as long as you don't tell them, I'm like, hell no, I'm not going to tell them, dude. Like, he was the GOAT, like, for that. Like, and he'd buy me, like, toys all the time. I remember there was a craze for a while at school. It was called they're called Alien. They're just aliens. I don't think they really had a name other than just aliens. You can get them out of the 25-cent machines, and there was different ones. There was like one holding a basketball, one doing like they're all doing different poses or holding certain items, and it was like the fad for like a hot minute at school. People would bring their alien boxes to school and show off all the aliens that they have. So I remember me and him would go to the mall, and I'd just try to get as many. I got like one of the rare ones too that was like, because most of them are green aliens, and then like I had like a silver one, I think. He looked so cool. It was like the ultra rare that I was able to get. So this was like gotcha games, for the kids these days, the gotcha games, but in real life, because we had actual toys. Now in Japan, that's like a big thing still, those machines. But there, you don't see them very much these days in the US. I remember the football helmets was another big one I used to like. But the aliens, yeah, I remember those a lot. Did you have like stuff like that at your school that people would bring in as like a thing to like, is like a look how cool I am? Like I mentioned earlier, they brought their Game Boy games. And then Now the alien box. Did you have stuff like that too?
Yeah, we had like the Pokemon cards. We had kids bring like their CD players in to play the newest albums that they got because Eminem was huge in my school at the time. There was one thing. What is the name of them? Pogs. Those were huge in my school.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
kids love those, and they would come to school with like I don't even think anyone knew how to play the game, but they would come to school with like grocery bags full of pogs, and then like splay them out all over the ground. Be like, all right, let's check out these new pogs, guys. And we'd all like sit in a circle and just like look at the pogs and be like, that's so sick, man.
Yeah. Yeah, the Pogs was a huge, huge thing in the 90s. I'm glad you brought them up because, yeah, I remember, I think we all had them. Then there was the metal ones that were called Slammers.
Yeah,
Yeah. That
yeah.
stuff, yeah, those things were so cool.
So great. And then like anytime that one kid got a new game, like a Game Boy game or something, they would bring it to school to show everybody. So everybody would be like crowded around this kid as they watched. And there was one guy
Mhm.
named Reese. And I guess he had a crush on me is what my sister was saying, but I never paid attention to him. I was mean in middle school. I was so mean. And he was always trying to show me this Game Boy game, right? And he'd always like save me a spot beside him to show me the game. But I was always like, no, I don't want to sit beside a yucky boy. Like, you're a kid and like, you don't know any better. You think everyone has cooties, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It was, so he'd always show me like his newest Game Boy games and everything, and then we'd go play on the slide together.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool about elementary.
Yeah. One of those missed opportunities at a possible romance, but still a super, super fun story, you know? That's
Poor Reese. I feel so bad for him. To this day,
He
I'm like,
tried his best. He tried his best.
he really
He,
did.
R.I.P. Reese.
Sometimes I think about him late at night and I'm just like thinking and I'm like, I wonder where Reese is now. I'm like, I hope that he
I
got
think
the girl
about
he deserves.
I think about a lot of the people that I grew up with. There's actually one person that I don't know what the heck ever happened to them, but this was another thing from middle school. And this is funny because all these years later, I thought of something super funny that I wish I could have told this girl because it would have been the funniest thing ever. Her last name was Visa, and like the freaking art teacher, he would like every time he do roll call, he would make fun of her last name by going, Visa or Mastercard, ha ha ha, like every time. And I, all these years later, I thought of like something hilarious that I wish I would have thought of to tell her to say, and I thought of Discover card because I was like, wait, what if she said, Discover you have no sense of humor? That would have been that would have been amazing. Like, that would have been the perfect thing for her to say every single time, or discover you're not funny. Like that's what she should have said, honestly.
That would have been
So
funny.
yeah, now thinking about it, I'm like, man, that would have been great. So Heather Visa, if you're listening to this somehow, that would have been funny. You totally should have said that. But that art teacher was also really cool. He was a huge wrestling fan, and he dressed as Triple H for Halloween one year. Pretty cool. He wore the big nose, everything. Yeah, he was Triple H, and then the other teacher was Stone Cold Steve Austin. I thought that was really dope.
Yeah, I don't remember our teachers ever really dressing up. I'm sure they did, but nothing that stood out to me because I was never a Halloween kid, so I never really cared that much. I just remember that, yeah, like elementary school was one of the best, but one of the worst times in
Mm.
in my life. Like I look back on it and I'm like, if I could do it again, I would because I preferred it over high school because high school just got worse. But elementary school was really good. Like we started a gang.
A
Um
gang.
it's so stupid, but it's so funny at the same time because there was this girl, I remember her specific we stayed friends up until she moved right before high school. And my mom didn't let me see her as much because she thought she was a bad influence, which She probably was, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Um, and she loved Eminem. She's the one who would bring Eminem CDs, and we would like take turns listening to it at recess. Because they didn't invent earbuds at the time. They only had the Connect headphones that you would put over your ears.
Mm-hmm.
And she loved tigers. And I remember she one day was like, I kind of want to start a gang, like a gang of tigers. And then we all like there was 5 of us, and we all picked a name. I think she was India. I was I don't remember what mine was, but I don't think I had a cool name. I think mine was like a stupid name, like like the stupid type of tiger. Not that there is a stupid type of tiger, but
Yeah, sorry to all the any of the tagger thing we might have offended the taggers that are listening. So
there was
I'd like
like
to apologize to the tagger community on behalf of my partner here.
there was like Siberia. There was yeah, it was so funny. And I just remember we started this tiger gang, and she could run on all fours like there was no tomorrow. And I just remember we would always hang out in the corner at the back of the field. Um, and we would hang out in our little circle, and these guys would sometimes come and bother us, the older kids. And I just remember one time he said something to her, and she chased him across the field on all fours. And this, like, she was keeping up with him. Like, it was insane. And
That is, it was a tagger.
yeah, like she was actually really good at that. I don't know how she did it, but she ran like a tiger. And she actually ended up tackling him, and then we all got in trouble, and we had to go to the principal's office, and they kept pulling us into the principal's office because of our gang. Like we didn't do anything. Like we weren't harming anyone.
Felonious activities.
Yeah. They just didn't like that we were all hanging out like in a group together, and then people wanted to join our gang, so they would have to go through India, and they'd have to be like, oh, can I join this gang? And she had like a list of requirements.
Initiation.
Yeah, like she's like,
Time.
you have to run on all fours. I think I was the only exception for that because I couldn't run on all fours like all of them, but they liked me. So you had to run on all fours. You had to be loyal to the game. Like, it was just so stupid. Like, it was just created like this gang in middle school of people who just pretended they were tigers,
That's amazing. Honestly.
It was amazing. And it was just so much fun because, yeah, we got into trouble a lot, and we probably got more detentions than we needed, but we were loyal to each other, like, as friends. And what's funny is that India hated me. And it's one of those stories where I earned her respect because she would bully me a lot. And one day I just got so sick of it, and I was like, you know what? If you're gonna bully me, then how about we just have a race and see who can win? And if I win, you leave me alone. If I don't win, you can do whatever you want. I lost, obviously, because she's fast as hell. But at the end of it, she was like, you know what? You're pretty cool with me. And, we just became friends after that.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I think I just like the fact that we all, back in those days especially, we used our imaginations to have fun, like at recess and stuff like that. This was before we had, like, the technology that we have today, and I don't even know what an average recess looks like nowadays for kids because of the technology and stuff, if they're on their phones or whatnot, or if they're not. Maybe some schools police it so they actually have to talk to each other and play like actual games with each other like we did back in the day. But I just feel like their imaginations probably aren't as strong as what ours were. Like, you just laid that whole thing out. Everybody would pretend to be tigers. Like, that takes a lot of imagination, especially for a kid. And obviously that girl fully committed to the bit. Like, she ran on all fours, like you said. That's commitment right there.
Yeah.
I don't think we see a lot of it now. But I do remember your story reminded me of this group of witches at recess. They actually like wrote their own they either wrote their own comic or they stole it from a manga. But like, they were like these witches and these girls, and they would always do their little thing at recess, and they were like they were always doing their thing, and I remember one time I approached them at recess, and I was pretending to be Majin Buu from Dragon Ball, and most of the girls there, they didn't want anything to do with me, except for the one girl. Her name was Chelsea. She was actually the prettiest one out of all of them, and she actually invited me into their circle for that day to play with them. So I thought that was pretty cool. She was like, they were like, we don't want your Dragon Ball Z character ruining our game here. And Chelsea was like, no, actually, Majin Buu is the strongest member of our clan now. And I was like, hell yeah. Like, that's right. I am. I'm the strongest member of this clan. Majin Buu. Majin Buu. I was like, Majin Buu and the witches is like the funniest thing ever. Because, like, see, like, that was cool. Like, I seldom times was accepted into people's, like, games. But that was one of the good days where I was like, hey, sweet, I get to be a part of this now. Cool. I never played with them again after that day, but it was just cool being part of it for that day. I'm like, sweet, we get to do a crossover episode, I guess, today. You guys got Majin Buu helping you.
Yeah, like, kids are so, I don't know, like, I don't know how they are now, but back then, like, doing the littlest thing, just earned their friendship. Like, you just give them a pog or something, and they're like, oh, you're my friend now. You're my wife now. Like, there were so many times that I was married by first recess and then divorced by third recess,
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's so different.
Yeah.
Just...
And, like, I don't know if they can get away with stuff like that now. Like, we would hold actual weddings in the recess field. And the teachers would come by and be like, what are you guys doing? And we're like, oh, Rebekkah and so are getting married. And they'd be like, yeah, all right. And just, like, walk off like they don't care. They're just like, whatever.
All right, cool.
And then the boy would be like, you're my wife now. And then, like, by the end of the day, he'd move on. And you'd be like, oh, man, and then I'd go home and I'd be like, I got divorced. And my mom's like, what?
Oh my god.
Yeah, like...
How about there's so many different characters, in school we met. Like, we met so many different types of people. We had these group of kids they were called the Title I students. They were Title I students was what the people who had, like, special needs or, like, learning disabilities went to, and I had to attend some of those classes myself. Jeep was the program for the gifted kids. The gifted kids, there was really like 5 of them, and they're all really cool guys. And one of them became a really close friend of mine because he was a huge fan of Final Fantasy VII, just like I was. And I remember talking to him for the first time about that, and I thought that was cool because, the other gifted kids, they wouldn't talk to me very much, except for this guy, Sean. And then they all started talking to me because Sean talked to me, because they were like, oh, Sean likes this guy, so I guess we'll like him. But I remember them literally getting mad because by like a week into us talking in class, one of the kids piped up and he was like, is that all you guys are ever going to talk about, is Final freaking Fantasy together? Is that it? And he's like, well, it's what we have in common. And Sean remained a good friend of mine all the way through high school. And I would go to his house all the time. He was one of the few friends that I did go to visit, like, regularly. Really cool kid. Not sure what happened to him now. It's one of those things. Fell out, like, after a while. But, yeah, he was awesome. So the gifted kids, they were all cool. I never had any problems with them. Usually, sometimes you hear stories about them being stuck up. But there was one gifted kid that came through, and he was just there for a very brief time. And I'm going to induct him into my Hall of Shame.
Your Hall of Shame.
And, yeah. His name was Josh. And he came through, and he was, like, this kid that, like, he just, oh, my God. Like, he exuded, like, the energy of, like, an actual, like, wrestling heel from, like, the 80s, like, who thought he was, like, smarter and better than everybody. And he used to say the word perfect all the time. Like, he kind of reminded me of Mr. Perfect, the wrestler, but, like, he would say, perfect, I'm perfect. Like, every time, like, he would finish any assignment, he would have to proclaim out loud, perfect. And, like, he was such a fucking, like, little douchebag. He had, like, these special, like, dictionaries. I don't know what they were that I called them. Like, he had these special, like, books and dictionaries and things like that. And Spidey was better than everybody. And I remember him just saying he was perfect all the time. All I ever think about when I think of him is him going perfect all the time with that voice. Perfect. Like he did that. He did that freaking voice. And dude, I always wanted to just punch him in the face. I was like, yo, like you ain't shit. But yeah, he always thought he was better than us, and he would say, I guess he went to a friend's house one time, one of my friends, and he went to his house, and I guess he left because he was like, your house is boring. There's nothing to do here. And then he just left. Like, he had his mom pick him up, and yeah, like this kid was so stuck. I'm glad he only was in our school for like a year. I don't think he would have made it very far, other than like if he wouldn't have left, because I think he would have gotten beaten.
The guy sounds like an absolute nerd.
Perfect. Here we go. Perfect. Fuck you. You're not perfect, dickhead. And I always used to think, like, does he listen to that song? I don't know. It's not. I don't think it's Hoobastank. I think it's another band. But he's like, I'm sorry, I can't be
Simple
perfect. Plan. Yeah, Simple Plan. I think he listens to that song and then he goes, wait, I am perfect.
I'm perfect.
Perfect.
Oh, we had one of those.
Yeah, he's in the Hall of Shame.
Oh, my Hall of Shame is this girl who I couldn't stand at all, and I was actually friends with her, and I wanted to be her friend, but we'll just call her Amanda. I don't want to say her name, but Amanda, and she was my Hall of Shame just because she was such a. It wasn't her fault now that I get older and I think about it, because her mother sheltered her quite a bit. She didn't even know what like World War II was. She was one of the kids that we'd be learning about it, and she'd be like, what's the Holocaust? It doesn't exist, my mom said. And the teacher actually looked at her and was like, I need to talk with your mom. So,
Holocaust in middle school.
Yeah, and she was like super sheltered, and she was one of the friends that she couldn't join the Tiger Gang because nobody liked her because she was really annoying, and she kind of narked on everybody all the time for the smallest things, and we didn't like narcs. You know, snitches get stitches. As they say. But I felt bad for her, so I would hang out with her because we had Digimon in common. So, we would play with like these imaginary Digimon that we made up and everything. And I just remember one time she was kind of a pick-me girl. I don't like using that term, but she liked to have the center of attention. Mm-hmm. And she was having like a full-on panic attack during recess one time, and while we were trying to play. And I just remember she was like, my mom said I can't play Digimon anymore because, oh my gosh, it's too much. It's too much. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, it's just, they're fake. They're not real. And she was freaking out, and I ended up slapping her across the face. And it wasn't a hard slap, okay? I was like 10. Okay, a 10-year-old cannot do a hard slap. She ran immediately to the principal's office. I got suspended for, like, out-of-school suspension. I didn't know that anybody knew about it until I got home, and my dad had taken me to the library, and he's like, pick out some books, and he was acting weird, and I was like, Mom knows, doesn't she? And he was like, yeah. He's like, you're gonna need these books. And I got home, and I just remember I went up to my room, and my mom, like, oh my god, she slapped me so hard for that. So hard across the face. And I was like, I didn't even hit her that hard. Like, this girl, like, upped it. She over dramatized it to the point where it made it seem like I had given her a black eye.
Yeah.
And she is forever in my Hall of Shame. And I actually hung out with her a few years ago when I went to university in another city. I reconnected with her because she lived there. And I hung out with her, and we went to the mall. And as soon as I went to the mall with her, I regretted it. And I was like, you have not changed, like, at all.
That's embarrassing if you haven't changed since school, like middle school and shit.
Oh,
like,
it was bad.
People talk about not changing since high school. Like, you move on from high school. A lot of people don't move on from high school, but you saying this kid is the same, this woman is the same, grown woman is the same as she was in middle school is like, that's crazy.
It was bad. Like, she was hitting on this. I felt so bad for the cashier. We went to this store called Green Earth. It's like a hippie store. They don't really exist as much anymore, but you kind of sometimes see them in the wild. and they sell like crystals and crap. And I just remember she was flirting with this cashier, and the cashier was like not into it at all. And she was like full on flirting with this girl, and the cashier kept looking at me as if I'm gonna. I was like embarrassed. I was secondhand embarrassed. I was like, yo, like, I was like, this is embarrassing for you. Um,
Mm.
but I couldn't help her. But me and the cashier actually became friends. Like we
That's good.
actually, yeah, like she gave me her Facebook and she's like, I do a lot of cosplay and everything. Check me out. So we actually became like good friends, for
Heck
a
yeah.
bit. But yeah, that girl did not change since school. And sometimes it's better to leave your elementary school friends where they belong.
I definitely agree with that. There's very few people that I'm still connected with from school. Actually, there's literally it's like one guy that's been with me since the beginning, pretty much, and I'd like to give him a shout out. Shouts out to Alex. He's one of the coolest dudes ever, and I still talk to him to this day. And I'm grateful for the fact that we're still like friends. I remember one day I called him up and he was like, "It was crazy that you called me because my mom was just asking about you." He's like, "Do you still talk to Jimmy?" And it's like, "Yeah." And like he was like, "Yeah, I still talk to him." And like the fact that I called him like a few minutes after that conversation with his mom, I just thought that was pretty cool. Um, yeah, you don't usually have people that stay in your life that long, so definitely grateful to have him as a friend, and we still talk. And yeah, hope to like reconnect and hang out again soon for sure. But yeah, I think that's the only person from my school, like school days, that I still have like an actual friendship with. So
Yeah, mine would be high school. I remember I'm a year older than my best friend, so I didn't meet her until I was in grade 10, I think, and she was in grade 9. Um, but we have remained friends since high school, and I don't think I actually have any friends from high school except for her. Because like some people you just find and you connect with. Oh, actually, my very best friend, so you might know her, Bats. Um,
mm,
she's like my first best friend. She was actually my friend in elementary school, so we have known each other since we were like 7, 8 years old. But unfortunately, she moved. But what's really cool is that she moved and she came back when we were in high school. And I just remember that this was a time where you didn't really have a lot of contact with people outside of school. So, you didn't have like cell phones. Facebook wasn't a thing until like 2004, I think. Um, you had MySpace, but nobody really like, used it that much except to pump up their profiles. But I just remember she had moved back and I didn't know about it until I literally bumped into her in the hallway. And I just remember turning around because she dropped her books and I was like, bats? And she's like, Bex? And it was so cool because like we just reconnected again after what seemed like a lifetime, but it was only maybe like 2 years.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Honestly, like that's a really cool friendship.
Yeah. So Bats and I, we used to play Cyber Six together. Cyber Six is a show. It's a Canadian show. I don't know if Americans know it, but it was made in Montreal, Quebec, and it's about like this secret agent who I can't even really like explain it without it sounding weird. I think I've mentioned it on the show. It's about this secret agent who is a teacher, but she's masquerading as a man during the day, and then she
Mhm.
has like she just goes out at night and like fights crime with her
Yeah, she's pulling
panther.
a Mulan, pulling a
Yeah.
Mulan movie.
So we would like play that on the playground a lot, and the teachers would get so mad at us. I
That's
don't know
that
why.
rules on. I don't know, like some of these teachers they're just no fun.
Yeah, some teachers just really
And,
didn't
like
want you to have fun.
they didn't like the games I chose to play at recess. They labeled me a psycho and all that. So whatever, screw them.
I know I hated teachers. I hated them all, except for one. But yeah, pretty much all my teachers were horrible because they either took away your creativity or didn't, or they just labeled you as like a sick individual, you know.
Sicko.
Yeah, and they'd be like, "Oh, well, she needs
Um,
help." It's like, "No, I don't. I'm just an overactive imagination child." Like,
Not to add more negativity to this episode, but now that I think about it, there was a lot of people who deserve to be like put in the Hall of Shame. I put a teacher in the Hall of Shame as well. My third
mhm.
grade teacher, her name was Mrs. Roth. Um, Horrible lady. I mean, like I talked about that principal being like, just a complete jerk, but this lady was worse. Actually, my mom literally wanted to come to the school and literally beat this old woman's ass. Um, she really was like just as good every bit a bully as the other kids that were bullying me were. And I don't know, I could not stand this bitch. And she made fun of me like several times in class in front of other kids, and like it was messed up. She's this old bitch with glasses, and I remember, yeah, I think my mom did come to the school and like tell her off the one time, but yeah, she was horrible, and she also made fun of other kids too. There was a kid who had a speech impediment, and he was showing off his Pokemon cards for show and tell, and he said he instead of card he was saying code, but he was obviously saying card because he was holding up the card as he said it. And she's like, "Are you saying code or card? What are you saying?" Like literally, like what a bitch. Like she is calling out his speech impediment. Like clearly we knew what he was saying, and you're just being a bitch.
I hate that.
Like that's horrible. Like I was like, dude, how does this bitch get away with this shit, man? And we were just third graders at the time, so I really didn't think of things. Like I wish like my brain worked like an adult's brain now, like then, because we're kids, we don't know anything. Like what are we gonna do or say? It's like she's a teacher. She's like ultimate. Nobody could stop her. But
Yeah.
like nowadays, obviously the common sense would be like, no, fucking turn this teacher in. She's bullying the kids. She's not being a real teacher. Like it's not what a teacher does. So
No,
yeah,
teachers were
the bitch,
horrible.
Mrs. Rope, your old ass in the Hall of Shame. She's probably dead now, luckily.
Oh my god. Just
So that's good.
just to add like a positive spin to this, I'm gonna say my teacher. I'm gonna tell you a teacher who's in my Hall of Fame, and
Oh yeah, Hall of Fame
yeah,
teacher. Let's go.
actually,
Yeah.
I want to do two, but I'll do the first one first because her name was actually Mrs. Roche, and she was an awesome teacher, and she put up with so much of our like our behavior. And me and my best friend, we would ask her like random questions all the time, and we'd be like, they were stupid questions that like nobody knows the answer to, right? And she would just politely like take in the question, and then she'd be like, okay, well, let's think about it like this. And then she would like walk you through the question and answer it for you. And I remember the one time my friend, because she's always getting us into shit, she was such a little shit starter, for lack of a better word. She was like, I wonder if I should ask her how two women do it. And I was like, no, no, you're not going to ask our teacher that. So she did. And from that point on, Mrs. Roche thought we were actually together.
That's amazing.
And we went on a school trip in high school with this teacher. And I remember we shared a room, me and my best friend, and we were late for breakfast the one time. And we came out from breakfast, and she was like, "You guys are late. Did you have a late night?" And she just said it like in a way that was like it's suggestive. And I was like, my friend was like, "Oh yeah, we did. We were up late." And I was like, "No, we weren't." I was like, I was in bed by like 5, like 5 p.m. I was in bed. And she's just like standing there, and she's like, "Mm-hmm, I see." And she would let us like on the trip, like leave the hotel and go walk around when we weren't supposed to. Like she caught us one time, and she was like, "What are you guys doing?" And we're like, "Oh, we're just, walking." And she's like, "All right, I didn't see anything as long as you guys are safe." Like, and as long as you're around for attendance tomorrow.
Honestly, that's great. Like a non-judgmental teacher right there.
Yeah. And then there was Miss Hahn, who was our
Nothing was
librarian.
going on, but the fact that she thought that.
Yeah, I know.
And then the fact that she was okay with that, like idea was that's pretty cool. She's a progressive woman
Yeah, she was
in the
great.
90s.
Yeah. And then there was the librarian, Miss Hahn, who protected us from a lot of people, actually. Like, she protected us from bullies, from other teachers. I remember, like, hiding in the library. And she'd be like, "Why are you not in class?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I'm just not having a good day." And the teacher would come looking for you, and they'd be like, "Where is, Rebekkah?" And the librarian would be like, "Oh, she's, uh, I haven't seen her." Like, she would just lie, like, blatantly lie for us. and then she
Oh
would
yeah.
hide us and she'd be like, okay, you can come out now.
Yeah, that's a Hall of Fame teacher right there.
Hmm.
That is Hall of Fame.
Very Hall of
Hall
Fame.
of Fame level.
But I had two great
So
teachers. One who I'm sure to this day thinks that me and this girl ended up getting married.
heck yeah. School trips were super fun for sure, especially back then. I remember we went to the Science Center, Carnegie Science Center in Pittsburgh. Went there a couple different times. I remember the one year we went there, and it was, I want to say, let me see, it was sixth grade. Sixth grade. Um, and I remember vividly the fact that it was the first time that I had seen, well, I found out that my friend at the time partook in, some type of recreational drug use, and uh, from such a young age. But I remember he was high as hell that day, and it took me a while to catch on to the fact that he was high. But I was pretty naive at the time, and we sat next to each other on the bus, and you know, he was just chill as always. And I remember when we were at the science center, he was like walking around and he was telling the teacher, he's like, "Oh, I'd like to introduce you to my friend, the little green Martian." Like, and he was calling me that. Teacher's like, "Yep, okay." Like, she was like, "Yeah, no, I guess you're the green Martian." I was like, "I guess so." He's been calling me that for like the past hour, and I don't know why. I don't know what he was doing. Like that, but I just remember it was like a funny ass day because he was just saying that. Then I don't know, he was with me the whole day, but I could tell he was like a little off that day, like more so than he usually is. But this kid was a hell of an artist. He could draw like some of the most incredible stuff ever. He was either always at his desk drawing. A lot of times he would draw things that looked like hentai style, but it was such good art. Like it was like manga style, but also very unique. I don't know how he did it, but so I think he just came to school high every day. He drew at his desk all the time. Really cool kid. I remember later on he got kind of too deep into the drugs, and I remember going to his house after school and his mom confronting me at the door, and she saw I had a backpack with me, so she wanted to search my backpack. She's like, "I need to look at your backpack." She's like, "Are you aware my son's a drug addict?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I just came here to borrow some video games from him. I swear that's all we're getting." "Oh yeah, video games, huh?" I know. She didn't believe me that I was just getting video games from the kid, and we got video games. I just got his GameCube games and stuff that I borrowed. I was Twilight Princess and all that. I remember that day too. But yeah, this kid was awesome. But I put him in my Hall of Fame because he's a really cool kid. He had a lot of demons that unfortunately got worse as he got older. I think he's doing good now though, so that's good. He came out on the right end, I believe. So there's that.
Oh, that's great. That's sad though that young already into drugs.
Yeah, yeah. I think he was only probably just smoking weed and stuff at the time, starting out. But yeah, I know he got deeper into stuff as he got older. But he was always such a sweet kid, always such a nice guy. He would do anything for you. Like I said, super talented artist as well. So, I hope the best for him now. I know he was living in a group home a couple years ago when I talked to him, and he was doing good. But yeah, shouts out to him as well. You're doing better, my friend. So yeah, the school trips were fun. I know that I kind of went on a tangent, starting out a school trip, but the Carnegie Science Center, that was a fun one. We did that one quite a bit. We did these nature preserves that we used to go to as well, which were really good. Actually, the one nature preserve is in the town I live in now. We used to come out here to this town and go to the nature preserve here. Nature preserves is, thanks to school, I think school really did make me appreciate nature because they took us to these nature preserves all the time, and I think that's where my love of nature really started, was through these school trips to these nature preserves. I love nature walks. I love visiting new nature trails as well. So that's a positive right there from school, was the nature preserves that we visited and field trips that we had.
Mhm.
We had really good ones back in the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, we went to Pennsylvania. to go to Gettysburg.
You came to my state.
We did. That's where we broke away from the teacher and went on our creepy walk. And the teacher just
Heck yeah.
totally didn't care that we went on our own, which they probably should have, but you can't get that now. Like nowadays, the lack of supervision is not something that I think is primary to this day.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it is, because kids are a lot more, I don't know the word to say that's like polite, but kids are a lot more, they act like they haven't been disciplined.
Yeah.
You know, so I
Things are
feel
a lot
like,
different.
yeah, I feel like teachers are too scared now to say anything to kids. But teachers in the 90s were not scared at all to, like, well, as you know, we've been through, they're not scared to make fun of kids even, join in on the bullying.
Yeah. Or, one substitute teacher, Mrs. Viddle. What a weird name. She was also another stereotypical mean old-looking teacher. And I think she tried to fucking hit me one time. I remember that. Like, she told me to stop doing something to disengage from my obnoxious behavior. And so this time it kind of was on me. And she's like, I'm going to give you to the count of 3. And then I'm like, okay, here we go. 1, 2. And then when she got to 3, I was like, free falling. And she's like, oh, that's it. And then she walked up to me. Looked like she was about to smack me. And then the bell rang and she's like, saved by the bell. I was like, you're damn right, bitch.
I don't remember who this teacher was, but I do remember this incident quite well. And I think it was an incident where I got into kindergarten. And where because I was a year later than everybody, so I still went to kindergarten. I was just held back by a year. But there was this teacher who, it's kind of embarrassing, but she was rude as fuck. She must have had something going on in her life, now that I think about it, because she was bad. And I remember I don't know what happened, but I think I peed my pants. And I don't know why. I don't know what happened, or I just had an accident, right? As any 6-year-old might. And she pulled me out into the hall, and she's like, well, you can call your mother. And I was like, I don't know I was trying to tell her, I don't know my number. And she's like, what do you mean you don't know your number? You're supposed to know your number. How are we supposed to get a hold of your mom? And this is information that they should have.
Yeah, they should already have that.
And she kept me in the hall, and she did not make any moves to take me to the bathroom, hide the fact that I had wet my pants. She was shaming me full on in the hallway. And I just remember that incident, and I told my mom about it, and my mom was not happy. And my mom, I think, went off on her because she ended up coming to the school, and all I remember is she took my teacher into the room, and they were yelling. And all I could hear was something like, you're going to keep her out there and not even contact me right away, and then shame her for not, for just being a kid. It's...
Yeah.
Because it's already, an embarrassing situation, but as a kid, you don't really know, right?
Yeah, just absolutely.
So I hate that teacher, and I hope that she's probably dead now, thank God.
Yeah, she's down there in hell with Mrs. Rowe. So they're both burning up together. Fuck yeah, let's go.
We got the last laugh.
Yeah, they're burning now. Let's go. Oh, man. I love it. God damn. They're burning up now.
They're burning in hell.
They're all down there with Epstein and Hitler and everyone else.
Oh, jeez. Maybe not on the same level, but on one of them.
Yeah. They're down there with Chris Benoit. But oh my God. Yeah, I think I should shout out a teacher who deserves to be praised. And this will be an odd one because this teacher I didn't actually get to have as a teacher, but my siblings got to have the teacher. My sisters did. And but I was supposed to have her in first grade, but she left due to maternity leave. Her name was Mrs. Mackerlane, Mrs. Mack. So she's in the Hall of Fame. We'll put her in the Hall of Fame for teachers because she was dope. She was awesome. I got to meet her at the end of the year. But this lady that we had for first grade teaching us in her stead was really weird. Didn't like her. She made us do weird things. Like we had to wear these clothespins on our fingers. It hurt like hell. Like they were color coded, red, blue, yellow. It was like you chose like a corner of the room to go to and do that activity. There was like a reading corner, math corner, corner for like different subjects. But to signify you were there, I don't know why we couldn't just put the clothespin on our shirt or something. Dang, she made us put it on our finger, bro. And that shit hurt. Cut off the circulation to our fingers.
Oh, really?
This bitch was weird. This bitch was weird. I don't know. She was really weird. But she was a strange teacher. And that was one of the weird things she had us do. We had these gold slips that we would get sometimes too, which were nice. If we got enough of them, we'd get like prizes. But yeah, didn't like her. I was so, I wish we could have had Mrs. Mack because at the very last day of school, Mrs. Mack came in with her baby and we got to hold the baby and pretty cool. And she was like, I wish I could have gotten to know you kids and all that. And I'm like, yeah, we really wish we could have gotten to know you too, because this fucking bitch is a psycho. She put fucking clothespins on her fingers. Mrs. Mack, you see this shit? Look at my finger.
That's so weird. Teachers were so
It's
weird.
such a weird thing. I don't understand why this lady did it. Mrs. like, I don't know what her name was. Like Mrs. Prizzle, like Prizzle, Pretzel. I don't fucking know. And she is a dumb bitch.
No, that's absolutely insane. I don't understand how teachers were like that, to be honest.
Mrs. Pretzel.
Oh, I have one more teacher for the Hall of Fame, though, because he was actually so nice. And I forget his name, so I'm going to just call him Mr. Jordan, because I feel like that's close enough to his name. And I remember that this was around the time in grade 7 where I was going through back and forth to Sick Kids Hospital, which is a hospital here in Canada, for my eventual, what would be Tourette's diagnosis. And he was my favorite teacher because I loved his class because it was English. I always loved English classes. And during the time of between my diagnosis and all this stuff with the family, I had to get glasses. And I was already like bullied a lot, so I didn't like the fact that I was now going to be bullied for wearing glasses. And I remember that I came into his class, and I don't know who told him ahead of time. It might have been my parents, but he stopped the class and he just said, "Everybody look at Rebekkah." And they all looked at me, and I was like, oh God, they're gonna make fun of me now. I was like, I'm four eyes, I know. And then he's like, get it out of your system now. If you want to say something to her, don't say it here. He was like, this class is a safe space, and she has to wear glasses. He's like, I wear glasses. He's like, you guys want to make fun of me? Go ahead. So he was just like such a cool teacher and made me feel like really welcomed back after like a absence that I had to have. So he
That's
gets the
actually
Hall of Fame.
phenomenal.
Yeah, he gets the
Hall
Hall
of
of Fame.
Fame. Heck yeah. Hall of Fame, Mrs. Mack. Hall of Shame, Mrs. Pretzel. Hall of Fame for that teacher as well.
And Hall of Fame for Mrs. Roche and Mrs. Han.
Uh,
And Hall of Shame
and
for
then
all the rest of you.
Mrs. Rote. Yeah, I had Mrs. Rote in the Hall of Shame.
Hall of
And the
Shame for all
principal,
those, all
Mrs.
those
Hoffman.
stupid teachers. Yeah.
Now, Hall of Fame principal, Mr. Bronson. He was really cool. He was my middle school principal. Really cool guy. Now this was long before we found out that Brock Lesnar is not a good person. Back then, he used to remind me of Brock Lesnar, so I thought he was so cool. Like he looked like Brock Lesnar, and he kind of even sounded like him. And that was one of my favorite wrestlers. When I guess this was like more of the mid 2000s, whenever I had him, but I like to shout him out anyway. But like I was like, yeah, he reminds me of Brock Lesnar. He's a cool teacher. He used to actually bring me into the office and we'd just chat. Like he'd just come in and want to talk to me just for something to do. He's like, oh, you've been watching the SmackDown? And then like we'd talk about wrestling together, and that was pretty cool. That was pretty fucking cool, honestly.
Yeah. Those teachers are always cool, and I think that they don't, they're so rare now too. Well, I wouldn't
Yeah.
know. I wouldn't know because I haven't been in school for 3 years now. But
Mhm.
yeah, teachers nowadays I doubt are brave enough to stand up to kids nowadays. I feel like kids just own school now.
Yeah, school was a different animal in the '90s. I took it for granted too. I mean, from despite all the bullying and all the hard times, there was a lot of really fun times and a lot of simple. It was simple times. They say you're gonna miss school. You're like, hell no, I'm gonna miss school. I can't wait to get done with school. I can't wait to get out into the world. Then you get out into the world and you realize, holy shit, man, why can't I just go back to school again?
Yeah. Like there's just so many
Yeah.
memories in school that were so good, like even though
And there's
like
a lot of things.
yeah,
Yeah,
like I was
a lot of
bullied
things you
too.
wish you could do again.
I was severely bullied. Like I was beaten up a lot too. And would I take it back? Probably not. You know what? I still
I think
look
it
at those days.
made me into the person I am today, honestly.
Yeah.
It steeled my resolve, but sometimes I do wish I was the savage that I am today, like in the real cutthroat, like able to insult someone at the drop of a hat, like I am now. Like I'm so good now when I was so shy back then, and I feel like I wish I could go back and just roast these guys. Like oh man, like if I could do some of these conversations over again or confrontations over again, I would probably go back and change some of it around just because I feel like I could have really. I have some zingers that like I think about sometimes that would have been perfect in certain situations
But at the same
back
time,
then.
I feel like our experiences with school made us have that type of snappy comebacks and that. Like I feel like that was
Hmm.
kind of like a survival method that we learned
Yeah.
to grow up with.
Hmm.
So I don't think I would actually be the same person that I am today if I wasn't bullied in high school. I think that I would have been a different person.
Yeah, and we both made it out on the other side, safe and sound, right as rain, as they say. And I proved a lot of people wrong because a lot of people really thought that I was going to be the type that would pull a Columbine, so to speak. And I never did that. I never had any intention to hurt anybody. So, I never did, but it's unfortunate that people do get bullied to the point of that kind of thing. And so, yeah, bullying isn't cool. And definitely don't do it. Don't bully each other. Be good to each other. Especially nowadays, it's really important that we're all kind to one another. So I would just want to take time to give that message to anyone listening. Like, be good to each other.
I agree. Yeah. It wasn't fun. And just because we made it out on the other side doesn't mean that other people will. So,
Yeah,
yeah, be
some people
kind,
don't.
you know, as I called that perfect kid a nerd.
Well, he was a nerd. He is a bitch. Okay, like that
Okay,
kid's a bitch.
you can bully
Like
some people.
he's a bitch, and I said his name too. So Josh Peterson. That's his
Yeah,
full name.
you can bully some people, but
I think it was Peterson. Wait, Peterson? No, it wasn't Peterson. Peterson's actually a good kid. Josh Peterson, you're a good kid. Actually, that's a different kid. Josh Peterson was a cool kid. No, I think it was. Was it? It was Josh Peterson. It might have been. Yeah, I think it was Peterson. I think I'm thinking of a different guy that was a cool kid. God damn, dude, we're getting old. Like, holy
I
shit.
know.
Getting these guys mixed up. No, it is. Yeah, his name was Josh Peterson, and he had the Josh Peterson dictionaries and like special books and shit. He's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, so you
Now
can bully
Josh
some
Calvin,
people.
my blind friend, he's a goat. One of the goats, man. That guy rules. Anybody fuck with that kid? Well, they're fucking with me. I hope he's doing good too.
Yeah, and
But
that's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I think, no, I think this episode has been, dare I say, perfect.
Oh God. All right, I think that's where we ended. Perfect.
Perfect.
That was I thought we were gonna, yeah, like it was fun talking about all the teachers and that, and the experiences
Yeah,
in school, because the
cool.
90s is a different type of animal.
It was crazy. Yeah, sometimes the '90s can be a tiger.
I'm never gonna live it down that I started a tiger gang.
Tiger gang.
Yeah, I
And
didn't start
Majin
it.
Buu. Majin Buu and hanging out with the witches. It's pretty cool.
And I'm gonna go have a perfect night.
perfect night. Everybody have a perfect night. Yeah, but we hope you enjoyed this episode. We might do another side quest next week. We might not. We might do a full episode again next week. We got to get into the lab here, get together, and maybe lay out another full list of like episodes. Or like maybe even call it season 2 after we do maybe one more like side quest episode, which will bring us to 10 episodes. And then we could say the first 10 episodes was season 1. And then we could start up with season 2 of Before the Ball Dropped podcast.
Yes, and these have been your hosts, Rebekkah
James
and Rebekkah.
Yeah. James and Rebekkah. That's right. Episode 9 is in the books. And remember, kids, stay in school and stay off the sauce and have a perfect night.